Hey guys, Terry Bartley here. This is another episode of Ink Over AI, the mini-sode series where I explore AI as a writer and a teacher, and what that sort of means and how we can figure out a way to use it that doesn't outsource our thinking, and how we can best sort of like guide students to use it. I want to tell you about what I've been doing with it lately. So I do this thing a lot whenever I'm writing professional things, whether it's like a comment to a student's essay, or like a email to a colleague, or maybe like somebody new that I'm trying to like connect with. I'll often paste it in there just to be like, hey, what do you think about this? And often, truly, often it is more of like, hey, look what I did. And like sometimes it'll give me like suggestions about tone and things, but it'll just be like in the like, usually I like it to just kind of like give me some ideas as opposed to like really specific changes. What it does a lot, and it does this sort of on its own, it will often fully rewrite the thing you paste into it. So like kids are, I'm sure, are doing this for like grammar. They probably have been doing it for quite some time now. And like I get it. Like it's a little easier to have something else fix your grammar for you than to have to learn the grammar. And also like, I mean, I live in a world where spell check, it was sort of like in development and happening because I was in high school. So like, I've not learned how to spell the best because I never had to. So like, I don't think that it's necessarily wrong that they're sort of like letting it help them with things like grammar, like especially like comma placement, things like that are a little bit tricky. But it rewrites way more than that. And that's what kills me. So like today, I wrote a comment. This kid wrote an essay that was like mind blowing, like so good. So like I had written a comment. I had a little thing in it that was like, this is incredible, like great job. And the AI had changed the word incredible to excellent. And it's like, why? Like, what is that for? And so I asked it about it because I've been doing this lately. I asked it and I was like, why did you change incredible to excellent? Like, I chose the word incredible. I wanted to use the word incredible. Why did you think excellent was better? And it said that it thought that excellent was a more formal word than incredible. And it's like, who cares? Like, I'm a teacher. I'm an English teacher. I know what word I wanted to use. I'm very intentional about word choice. So like whenever they do things like that, I feel like it doesn't just like correct grammar. I think it flattens what we do, like how we talk and how we write. It sort of like takes me out of it. And it does this a lot. And it really, really bugs me because like I often will not ask it to rewrite things. It just does it on its own. And it just sort of like makes changes that makes me not part of it anymore. Like it's my ideas, it's my thoughts, but it doesn't sound like me anymore. Like my voice has sort of like disappeared from it. I worry about it because I think that it's a bigger problem than just my emails or my student comment. It goes deeper than that because, like students use AI, like I said, to help them fix grammar, help them fix spelling, that kind of thing. And what I have noticed, even when they don't use AI, because there's been a number of times now, whenever I put students' work into an AI checker and it'll come back that it's probable AI, that I read it myself. And there's a number of like little quirks that it's like, well, obviously a kid wrote this. Like there's little things that make it clear that a kid wrote it and it wasn't AI. And whenever I notice those things, then what I do notice then is that they're writing in an overly formal tone. And I have a feeling they're doing that because they think that the way that AI writes is how they're supposed to write. And that feels sort of scary to me as somebody who teaches English and as an author. I think that if we continue to live this way, if kids are continuing to learn how to write through AI, whether we want them to or not, because I mean, I don't encourage them to use it for grammar. I'd much rather them just sort of turn in something with wrong grammar because I care far more about content than I do grammar and spelling. I'd much rather them turn in something with bad grammar than to turn in something that AI fully rewrote for them. But the truth is they're gonna, like whenever you put in a thing you wrote and AI spits back out a different version of it, like it rewrites it for you, if you're young and you don't understand like writing and you don't trust your ability that well, you're gonna just copy and paste it because you're gonna think that what it gave you is better writing than what you did. Not because your writing was bad necessarily, but because you don't believe your writing was good. And that's a problem because like, these kids see AI as an authority, right? They think that what it's telling them is correct. And they're going to learn, like, like something that I hear all the time as an author is like, if you want to become a better writer, you have to read more, because the more you read and see how other people write, the more your writing can develop, because you're going to sort of like adopt things that you read unintentionally, and it will sort of like allow you to kind of like develop your own style by sort of like over time picking up bits and pieces from other authors. That's just sort of like what voice is, is it kind of like you learning what things you like and making it your own. So like these kids are learning that from AI. Like AI are the ones that they think that's the writing they read, for better or worse, and that is what they think is correct writing. And it just makes me think of this, like, this sounds like a dystopia to me. It may not to everyone, but I feel like it leads to a world where we have sort of like this customer service voice of like being friendly and unoffensive in everything we experience. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in that world. That sounds horrifying. The idea that like every ad, every, article, every book, every song, everything is written in such a way that is unoffensive and like very flat and doesn't have any really personality or humanity in it. That sounds terrible. I mean, think about like a sitcom, if it was written in a way where the characters only ever talk kindly to each other, and even if they disagree, they do it in such a way that sounds professional. That is messed up. I mean, imagine if your friend came to you, was mad about something you did, and you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience." And then you just sort of like try to figure out how to, and then you use customer service speak to kind of like deal with that. That is not how the world should function. That's not like what makes sense. So, like we need to sort of like accept that that is something that we as a society have to work on. And, like I've thought about this a lot, like what are the things that I can do as a teacher? And like there's the little things you can do, right? Like you can say things like, whenever you put in your thing into AI, you could say, "Don't rewrite this for me." Or you just give me suggestions for grammar changes. Don't rewrite it. You could do that. But I mean, let's be real. Kids are not going to do it every time. Like kids are going to either forget or they like it doing it. And because I mean, it's a whole lot easier to copy and paste than to have to figure out where your grammar was incorrect so you can change it whenever it gives you specific changes you could make. So what I think we have to start doing, and this is sort of wild, I think that we have to start teaching voice intentionally in high school and maybe even like middle school, because they're using it too. Like I didn't learn voice in high school because you don't really, it just kind of happens on its own. You write and your voice sort of like develops the more you write and the more you read and all those things. So in high school, you often don't teach voice. But I do know that colleges teach voice. Like there are creative writing classes about voice, like in writing. And I think that I've been doing some research lately about like, what is it that they do? Because I think that I need to very intentionally teach it. Like I need to teach my students, this is what your voice sounds like. Because like I think the other thing is like, because they don't know voice, they don't understand voice, they can't tell if the AI sounds like them or not. Like I can, right? Like I pasted my thing in, it gave it back to me, and I said, "This is not me. This does not sound like me." I don't think kids know enough to know that, because they just aren't familiar enough with what their writing voice sounds like. So I think that we really have to be very intentional in teaching them that, because I think that even well-meaning kids who are not trying to cheat are gonna start conforming their voice to sound more and more like AI. And we don't want that, like that makes everything flatter. That makes our art flatter. That makes the world we live in, broadly speaking, flatter. And that is bad. We don't want that. I just wanted to sort of talk about this because I think that it's like so many things, right? Because like in journalism, voice is so many, like voice is trust, right? There's a reason why people trust local journalists more than they trust national journalists, generally speaking. And it's because the local journalist talks like them, right? Like they sound like them. They sound like somebody that they know they can trust. Voices like ethics, like you can, because in journalism, in writing, in books, whatever, magazines, anytime, like the words that we choose are intentional and they are saying certain things. And I know that in day-to-day life, it is annoying when your author friend says, you said this, so that means you meant this, because we know what words mean and we overanalyze words, even when you didn't mean that thing. But in writing, it is communication. It's ethics, it's accountability, it's all those things. Like being able to write and sound like you and sound like a person, those are all decisions we're making. And if we learn that the way you're supposed to write is not like you, but like what everybody else sounds like, even though there is not an everybody else sounds like, there is like what we each individually sound like is how we is how we write. If you don't know that, if you can't see what that looks like, you're not gonna figure it out, and you're gonna keep making yourself seem like less and less interesting, and your writing will be less compelling. And oftentimes, like if you do the thing where you put it into AI and it gives you back corrections, it's gonna maybe even change your meaning, because it will change words to be more unoffensive, and you might have like chose that word for a reason. I mean, these kids are impressionable, right? Like it took a handful of influencers to say unalive on TikTok, and now they're all saying it. Like, we gotta be aware of this. And I think that if we don't teach them what good writing sounds like, and that it doesn't sound like AI, then they're never gonna change. They're never gonna be able to do what they're supposed to do. So, it's just, I just want to talk about this because I think that it's relevant. I think it's important. And I think that it's really something that like we have to start like being more aware of. I think I'm realizing more and more that there's a lot of these like unintentional things or things that we're not thinking about, that AI is creating problems with. And we have to be very on top of it because, it's very easy as an English teacher to say, don't do it, never do it. They do it. And you can give them zeros, you can give them plagiarism punishments, but they keep doing it and they keep learning the wrong lesson. And until we teach them the right lessons, then we're gonna keep ending up here. So, feel free to leave a comment if you have anything to say about this. I'd love to hear what other teachers have experienced. I'd love to hear what other students have experienced. Anybody out there, if you put an email into ChatGPT and it's back another email, did you feel like you lost parts of yourself? Did you notice it? Let me know. I'd love to hear that. And this is the channel for Most Writers Are Fans. This mini-sode series, Ink Over AI, we come on here pretty much every other week with thoughts like this. So feel free to like and subscribe to never miss an episode. Most Writers Are Fans is the main podcast. And on there, we interview authors about sort of like craft and promotion and sort of like all the toolbox of what it takes to be an indie author, because it's a lot of different pieces at one time. That's it for now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.